The silent passenger. It was almost midnight when Jenna boarded the last train home. The subway car was nearly empty, except for an old man sitting near the back, his head down, hat covering his face. She took a seat near the middle, pulling out her phone. The train started moving, the rhythmic clatter of the tracks filling the silence. A few stops later, a man in a tattered coat stepped in. He didn't sit down. Instead, he stood near the door, staring directly at her. His eyes were hollow, dark pits that made her shiver. Jenna looked away, pretending not to notice. But then she saw it, his reflection in the window. The reflection wasn't standing. It was sitting, right next to her. Her breath caught in her throat. Slowly, she turned her head. Nothing. The seat beside her was empty. Her heart pounded. She forced herself to look back at the window. The reflection was still there, and now it was grinning. Jenna jumped up and moved to the other side of the train, her hands shaking. The man in the coat didn't move, but his reflection followed her, sitting just an inch away. The train slowed, the lights flickered, and then, for the first time, the old man in the back lifted his head. His voice was barely a whisper. "Whatever you do, don't get off at the next stop." Jenna turned toward him, panic rising. "Why?" she stammered. The train pulled into the station. The doors slid open with a hiss. The man in the coat vanished, but his reflection stayed, and it turned toward her, smiling wider. The old man grabbed her wrist. "Don't move," he muttered. The lights flickered again. The subway car was suddenly full of people. Dozens of them. But something was wrong. They weren't moving. They weren't breathing. They were just staring. The doors closed. The train continued. The reflections faded, and the old man let go of her wrist. "You're lucky," he whispered. "That was his stop.